buenas a todos, nenos. Vamos otra vez con el NBA2K13. Hoy nos enfrentamos a San Antonio Spurs. Vamos a darle, a ver qué tal se nos da. Mira.
Just earlier, the fans on their feet as the national anthem rang out throughout the arena. It's that time of year, mid-season NBA action.
Jugamos ahí
alongside Clark Kellogg and Steve Kerr. This is Kevin Harlan, and as always, happy holidays to each and every one of you from all of us at 2K Sports. And presented to you by State Farm.
Así que gánale, así que muy bien.
And as we take a look here at Dewan Blair, what's your take?
Well, the biggest thing with Blair is his size. You know, he's just a
dámela ya, dámela.
He's a screener. He's a guy who can
Venga,
really
Marvin, el primero.
impose his physical will on the game.
Well, he's got that tremendous scrapping ability as well, guys. And as soon as the ball is loose, ball pops up around him, he just wrestles it away from anyone who's forced enough to try to get it from him. The last time these two teams met, it was the Houston Rockets who came away with the W against the San Antonio Spurs. And guys, they come into this one looking for win number 3 in the season against these guys.
They
won that game at the offensive end, guys. It almost seemed like they got something out of every possession down the floor.
And Steve, the few times they did come up empty, they didn't really carry over. They never lost their momentum.
Well, for him, that finger roll is almost second nature. That's a tough shot for most players. Well, you know, the Spurs have been thinking about what's beyond the Tim Duncan era in the future. But Duncan keeps on ticking. I mean, he just keeps playing at a very high level. And as long as he does that, San Antonio will be tough to beat. And defensively, you've got to try to keep the ball on the perimeter.
Yeah, he's not going to miss those, not often anyway. The defense has to muscle up
to deny
him that position.
Ahora me cubre Manu.
Here's Silk. What a tremendous game he played against Minnesota. 6 to shoot.
Macho, moveros alguno, desmarcado. Claro,
rebound by the Spurs. And going back to Tim Duncan and San Antonio, Clark, even if he isn't putting up great numbers, he really does seem to drive the team just through his power and his will.
Well, there's something about presence, and that's really what a superstar player like Duncan can do for you, Kevin. Even if he plays into his
Parker.
Oh, man, that was a real hard it up. You know, for a player with his explosiveness, that was ATM time. Cash money, the easy way.
Yeah, that kind of defense is not going to cut it against him.
Cash money. I like that, Clark.
And the highlight reel replay brought to you by Sprite. Good stuff. Parker kicks to Jackson. Ginobili outside. Over Martin.
Rebote mío.
Ginobili can't hit.
Venga. Empezar de cero.
For the Houston Rockets, they come in off a good outing against the Timberwolves at Target Center.
And boy, did they protect the basket well.
Me cago en la puta. ¿Cómo puedo perder eso, hombre?
Down low, the rotations were solid, and it paid off with a lot of blocks in that game.
Yeah, they really wanted to establish that intimidation factor, and Steve, I think they did so by devoting a lot of manpower to the low post.
Mira, mira. Ay, qué mal.
Patterson. He goes up. Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give them 2 chances at the free throw line here.
Well, the Rockets were a team looking to rebuild a bit last season, Kevin, as is often the case with teams that are trying to put new players together in a new system. They struggle on the road.
And a new coach, too, and Kevin McHale.
That's right.
Looking at the Rockets on the road, their record, 12-21. It was a big part of why they were on the outside. Unfortunately, Steve, looking in at playoff time.
They played well enough at home, Kevin. A very competitive team in Houston. But to make the playoffs, you have to be able to go out away from your building and grind out some victories. And Houston just wasn't able to get enough of those.
Passes it to Martin. Here's Silk. Goes up from the top of the key, and that's good for 2. And guys, pretty interesting comments he had after their last game.
Well, I know if I said some of the things he did and threw my teammates under the bus like that, I wouldn't feel comfortable. I'd be looking in that locker room. Things have to be tense after that statement.
Yeah, I can imagine there's going to be maybe a team meeting, or maybe some of the veteran players will address him privately, but either way, I mean, at this point, with those comments, it seems to me you're going to have a fractured team. Well, one thing you hear about Kevin McHale with the Rockets, he's never afraid to call out his players. He's totally honest with them, and I think they appreciate that. You know, maybe a demanding style of coaching, but when you're honest with your players, I think they'll respect that, and that's exactly what happened with McHale in Houston.
Parker outside. Steven Jackson on the wing.
Ya, Parker.
Duncan kicks to Ginobili. Parker outside.
Cuidado, Longoria.
Palacio.
Ay, ay. Esa base. ¡No! Ah, de ellos. Vale, vale, de ellos.
As it looks like they call an over the back here.
Well, that's an aggressive play, trying to get that rebound. Maybe a little too aggressive.
And it was totally unnecessary, Steve. He was in no position to get to that ball. He should have just conceded.
¿Qué haces
And
pidiéndola?
Coach McHale, if
Toma.
his players
Mierda.
aren't producing, Steve, even the stars,
Se la he
they'll
regalado.
show him to the bench. He has no
Ahí es tonto, se me pide el
Well,
pase.
you know, in
Ya.
Houston last year was interesting, Kevin. They had so many combinations of players.
Venga, rebote.
That I
Y
think
arriba.
some of the players actually complained
Arriba la
that they weren't
contra.
getting consistent minutes, but the
Mira.
problem on that team was that nobody
Pero métela,
stood
cabrón.
out. You know, nobody
Ay,
really
¿qué te
jumped to the
parió, macho? ¿Qué
forefront
quieres?
and took
¿Asistencias o
over the
qué?
team. That's why they were about 500 and, you know, on the outside of the playoffs looking in.
Ginobili kicks to Jackson.
¿A dónde te sales?
Parker outside. A
Venga,
strong
tío.
finish under heavy pressure all over. Parker's got 6 points.
Brought back the finger roll. That's a nice finesse move to pull off with the defense all over him.
3-second difference between shot
No veis
clock
ni
and
uno,
game clock. Patterson. And Ginobili pulls it down.
That's a look that he'll never pass up, the one he'll usually never
Ya,
miss.
su culillo.
It's Parker with the drive.
Tapón, ¿cómo?
Can't hit. Good work defensively by Martin.
Hay que
That's the kind
jugársela.
of defense required when he's got the ball near the hoop. They were
Mira, mira,
right in
mira,
his
mira.
face.
¡Hostia, qué hijo de puta!
And that does it for the first
Uy, la
quarter.
leche.
Rockets on top. They're
Mal partido, ¿eh? Muy mal
No
partido
better
hasta
show in
ahora.
town than
Venga.
the Rockets. Come on in.
Empieza en el banquillo y se nos ponen a uno y atacando ellos.
So with Ginobili sitting on the bench, here's how the floor looks for Greg Popovich. We've got Boris Diaw. Jones is out there with Mills. Then it's Steven Jackson. And it's
Pero
Splitter
pillar el
in the
rebote,
center.
coño.
Diaw. And the go-ahead bucket, no good.
He's always going to have a difficult time
Bueno,
finishing
el
when the
Delfino.
defense is in his face like that.
¿Dónde vas,
And
Delfino?
keeping us updated from the sideline, let's swing it over to Doris Burke
¿Dónde-
for an update.
¿Qué haces,
Hi, Doris.
Delfino? ¿Qué coño haces?
Silk in the last outing against the Timberwolves just played phenomenal. He finished with 27 points and was really a dynamic force, finding
dámela a mí.
teammates and playing tough D on
Mira,
the
mira,
other
mira,
end.
Delfino, aprende.
Absolutely incredible numbers
Hostia.
from him in a
Bueno, al menos he provocado la falta, no la he
All right,
perdido.
Doris, thanks. And confidence, Clark. He showed last game, it was a
Joder,
big-time
con el
testament
pronto.
to his ability to be a game changer.
Kevin, absolutely. His teammates and coaches love that kind of game.
Well, he has
Pero
that
bueno,
kind of
la meto, vale.
potential, and to show it like that in a big-time situation, that was impressive.
Y ahora, ¿por qué? No sé por qué me mandan.
You know, for
por
such a long time, the Spurs were looked to
Apa,
as an annual
collón.
threat to win it all, especially with Tim Duncan in his prime. But the
meto
last
al
few
rebote.
years, people haven't taken San Antonio
Lo bueno.
seriously, but they still win
Porque
consistently.
se me va a poner
night in
Delfino
and
de
night out.
base.
Good luck. And that is
Bien,
good.
dentro.
Silk's got 11.
First and foremost, for me, it's his three-point shooting.
Ya me han puesto a
the most
Delfino de base.
entertaining. Every trip
Entrenador a
down,
veces,
he is
tío,
a
hace unas
threat to
cosas
everyone
que
from
no
almost
son de
anywhere
lógica.
on the floor.
And don't forget now, a walking highlight reel every time he steps on the
Ay.
court. His flair for the dramatic makes him worth the price of
haces, pa'
admission all
cojones?
by himself.
Douglas with it. It's
La
rebounded
cocina y la
by
falla.
Boris Diaw.
Manda huevo.
Thinking about the Spurs, a lot of it just seems to be habit for them. Winning has certainly become a habit down in Texas.
Yeah,
Uy.
they have the players to compete, but by no means do they seem overpowering to any other team. Pop is a great coach, Greg Popovich, and gets the most out of them, and that's a big part of it, Kevin.
The Spurs have had 2
Venga, chavales,
chances
vamos.
at the line already, making them both.
Yeah, they've just been an ordinary team in
Desplazado a base,
terms
ya
of
era
free
hora.
throw shooting this year,
Están
guys,
haciendo
about
tu charao.
75%. And a breakthrough season for Thiago
Dame
Splitter
la
last
cabeza.
year. He scored much more efficiently, and I think now you could argue he's possibly the best backup center in the NBA.
Gary Neal's checked in for the
Para ti.
Spurs. Corey Joseph comes in for Patrick Mills. Forbes, guarded by Jackson.
Mírame.
Here's Silk.
Vale.
Fires from deep. Count that
Vale,
one.
muy bien.
Silk's got 14 points for the game.
He's as close to impossible to defend as anybody, I think. I mean, he can just torch the defense in so many ways.
The feed to Neal. He dishes
Que mira
it to
ellos cómo
Splitter.
se mueven. Los míos no,
Feeds to
no se
Neal.
mueven ni a
From
patadas.
outside the arc.
Joder. Pillan el rebote otra
Outside
vez y a
Jackson.
empezar.
The three. Shot misses.
Píllalo,
Houston
bien.
the other way now. Oh, and a fast break for the
Muy tarde.
Rockets.
¡Buah!
Slams it home.
Qué grande
Threw
contra.
it down with authority.
Oh, he can really fly. And you combine that, Clark, with some of the nice penetration, too, and you've got an easy 2 points.
Yeah, that's good stuff there. He's able to play well
Cuidado.
above the rim, but the execution really got him that look.
And so he draws the
Metes
foul
eso ya y
shot,
vamos.
a trip to the line to shoot 2. And for Sputter, a terrific player in Europe. He struggled at times in his rookie season. In fact, he even started to wonder if his game would even translate, Clark, to the NBA.
Not surprising that he had some
Bueno,
bumps
seguimos con una
last year.
pequeña
It's
renta de
difficult
5
making the adjustment
puntos.
from Europe
Mira
to
por
the
la
NBA
derecha.
as a big guy.
¿Veis?
But
Me ha cerrado
nonetheless, he's
este, pero
shown
entro.
that he can compete at this level. A skilled
Cago en la
player,
puta, ya está, yo la
and he's
fallo
just
ya.
now entering his prime.
Last game for the Spurs. They pick
Bueno,
up the
digo,
W
hasta yo la
against the
fallo
Rockets.
como si fuera aquí
Boy, that
la
was a
puta estrella.
surprising result, wasn't it, guys? Because on paper, it didn't even look like a fair
No,
matchup.
splitter.
Well, you know what? That's part of why
Se
we
nos
enjoy
acercan a
sports
3,
and we play the
peligro.
games, because it definitely didn't turn out the way many of the
Oye, ¿qué haces?
experts,
¿Sacas
including
ya o
ourselves,
cómo?
might have predicted. So that's why you tee it up, buddy.
There's 53 seconds left in the
Por
second.
Dios, moveros alguno. Mira, ya le tenía, sí. Sí, le tengo.
Well, this
Ay,
fella
déjame
can
volver
rise
atrás.
up there with the best of them.
Just a crazy finish,
Uy.
guys.
He's one of the few players with the athleticism to pull that off.
Ya otra vez que casi se
And
la...
that was Sprite bringing you the close-up on that big-time play.
¡Ey! Me ha tirado él. Venga, vamos, aprovechar que hay uno menos.
Leading by 5.
And a 2-for-1 opportunity.
Yeah, they
Me
got
cago en la
step on the
puta.
gas here.
And it's out of bounds
Vamos,
to the
hombre.
Rockets as Houston retains possession. So
Ya lo aquí, ya estoy barba.
second quarter ends in a tight one. Rockets lead by 3. Live from the AT&T
25-22. Bueno, nos marchamos ganando de 3.
by Sprint.
And it's halftime out in San Antonio.
Muy mal, una sola asistencia, pero es que hoy el equipo no se está moviendo nada,
Welcome back, everybody. The start of the second half getting underway. Both
Y entra
teams
Tony
battling
Parker a
hard through
cancha
the
otra vez.
first half.
Duncan y compañía.
Really an incredible game from Silk.
Yeah, he's done a great job of finding the soft spots in that defense. Very efficient game for him so far.
Yeah, and I like what he's done, Steve. I mean, he's made a couple of jumpers here
La
or there,
pico.
but what he's really done impressively is allow the game to come to him.
¡Hala! Ya nos han empatado.
Getting underway in the second half. Here's the 5 for Kevin McHale. Palacio in at point guard. Kevin Martin and Jamie Parsons at the 2 and 3. Patterson plays down low with the sheet. Okay, well, let's check in with Doris Burke reporting from
teme un
her
poco.
sideline in this game. Doris, take it away.
Tío, tiene que haber uno libre.
Well, Kawhi Leonard started for the Spurs last season as a rookie, playing the role of their perimeter stopper. Greg Popovich said it starts with his body. He has good size, huge hands, and quick feet. And he likes the role. He's aggressive and doesn't shy away. Failure doesn't bother him.
Muy tarde, muy tarde.
Tapón.
Tapón. No, hombre, no, que eso sí un tapón.
If there's somebody on the other team that we think is a heck of a player, I want Kawhi to handle him. Kevin, such a great vote of confidence.
That's right, Doris. Thanks.
Well, Pop and the team really believe in him. I mean, they trust him, and he's rewarding that trust. Well, with Parker, he's one of the best finishers in the league, and particularly at that point guard spot, you know, with his speed and his ability to penetrate, he's able to go into the teeth of the defense and either shoot that little floater or get all the way to the rim.
Well, he doesn't have to get all the way to the rim. He's got such a variety of shots in the lane area that really make him hard to defend and make him a really clutch player late in games. He gets into the lane and he's got all
3
the
segundos
shots
en
that
ataque.
allow
Vale,
him to
perfecto.
score.
Bien, Duncan, muy bien. No se nota que te echas cuerpo,
Big men that have been rock solid over the past 10 games. The top shooting centers and power forwards in the NBA. You take a look at Patterson, leading the league in field goal percentage. He always gets good looks.
Boy, he's just a dominant presence in the low post. He gets so many good looks because he works so hard to get in a good position down low before he actually catches the ball.
Tengo ahí una
And I
escolta
like the
que
way
es la
his game is adaptable based on what the defense is showing. I mean, he'll change it up from game to game as long as he's still able to get high percentage shots.
Duncan right side. Spurs working the ball around
la
now.
hostia, macho. La
Gets
mete
it to
dentro,
go.
el paso.
Blair's got his 3rd bucket of the night.
I'm sure they'd like to get more shots like that one.
Toma, me cago en
Well, we
Dios.
all know about Tim Duncan's abilities as a player.
Yo creo que ha levantado la mano para
passing,
pedirla.
the defensive abilities. But I think one of his best traits has been the
sienta,
quiet leadership.
claro.
that
Mírame.
Down low.
Pero
It's
tío.
tipped. Parker with the steal. And a fast break now for the Spurs. Jones is running. And that one's good.
Mal, mal, la estoy cagando abierta. Venga, vamos. Tiene uno menos.
Nothing the defense can do.
Steve, going back to Duncan, you're talking about him and that leadership and what it's meant for that franchise, for that
Vale,
Spurs
Martin,
team.
bien.
Clark, such a big
Martin
part of
sale.
their success.
Yo creo que es el
Well, he
único que
plays
está
the game
manteniendo ya el
unselfishly.
equipo.
He is a
Cancha,
terrific star, a Hall of Fame
Los demás no
player.
estamos haciendo una mierda.
Doesn't see
Yo
himself
cada vez que
in
tengo el
that.
balón la gente
Produces,
se
he
mueve.
leads his team, he's coachable, and he's come up big in big moments. He's done everything you could ask of a franchise player.
Back to Jones. 6 on the shot
Saque
clock.
para-
And it's out of bounds. The Spurs able to retain possession here.
Desplazados contra Paco Jones.
Just 5 to shoot. Parker dishes to Duncan.
Al rebote.
Rockets
Bien,
with the
rebote.
rebound.
A tight game here. Neither team has been able to gain an upper hand on the backboards.
Well, both
Tira.
teams really getting after it inside. It's been an
Nada,
interesting
oye.
battle.
Tim
Y
Duncan
no
with the
pille el
rebound.
rebote. Vale, mío.
Parker left side. The rebound by Patterson.
Joder,
Patterson's
Delfino
got
no,
his fifth
tío,
rebound in
Delfino
this
no.
one.
Mírame.
Here's Delfino. Again, the Rockets
chaval.
score.
That time the defenders were a little lazy getting to him.
And that does
Bueno,
it for the
tercer
third quarter.
cuarto.
Both teams clicking offensively. As
Tres iba a decir. 4
Make sure to
arriba.
pick up a copy of 2K Sports Magazine featuring Silk, a
Comprate esta
breakout
revista,
talent.
que es buenísima.
So as we get rolling here in the fourth quarter, let's go to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke, for our Sprite
no quiero
uncontainable
ver.
game. Doris?
Kevin, our uncontainable game in this one
¿Por
was
dónde viene
stretched by the
Douglas?
Rockets. It didn't take long for them as they were on the mark early and never
Mira, Douglas.
faltered. Give them
Así que
credit for
pásamela, tú sí
controlling
que eres
the game
buena,
from
así
the
que.
opening tip and being in the driver's
Muy
seat now
lejos.
as we head to the final period.
All right, Doris, thanks. And the run Doris mentioned, guys, that was
Estoy
really
haciendo
a
ya el
huge
payaso.
game changer here.
Jugándome
No
cada.
question, Kevin.
Hola.
Probably the pivotal moment in the game so far. And
¿Cómo
I
que abandona la
think that really
asignación,
set the
tío?
tone.
You know, one of the things that was interesting to me is you could see
Este
the
juego a veces
body
me mosquea
language
mucho,
of
¿eh?
both teams change at that point.
Se la va a hacer, se la
Obviously
hace.
in different directions.
Mierda, y ahora me la como
Short
yo.
on one side and
Estoy
a
mal,
bit of
mal,
chin
muy
in your
mal.
chest on the other side.
So with Ginobili sitting on the bench, here's how the floor looks for Greg Popovich. The big men, Dwan Blair and Tim Duncan. Tony Parker is out there with Jones. And it's
Muy
Jackson
bien,
with the
aprovechado
small forward.
el bloqueo, pero no me lo deis.
And we've played through about a minute here in the fourth. Here is Parker. Back to Duncan.
El
And the
rebote.
rebound goes to
Vale.
the Rockets.
Toma, a ver
Silk's
qué
got his
hacen,
third
Marquita.
rebound on the night. There's the triple.
La
Tries
puta.
again. And Patterson kicks to Douglas. Back to Patterson.
¿Qué haces?
Stolen by
¿Qué
Jackson.
haces?
And a fast break now for the Spurs. And Duncan throws it down.
Boy, the big fella showing us
Nada,
a little
tío, nada, no
explosiveness
hacemos
for the
nada,
sake.
¿eh?
Well, maybe Clark is
Ganamos,
working on his dunk
será de
skills
coña.
because he looked perfectly at home right there.
Yeah, sometimes he can climb those, so I'm glad to see him get that one down.
Let's catch up with Doris from the sideline.
Nada, Parker.
Thanks, guys. I was
Gracias.
able to hear Kevin McHale coaching his team during that break. He gave his guys the
Aponándome
green light
legalmente.
to keep firing from downtown, telling them, listen, I like the work you're doing out there. Keep finding those gaps on the perimeter. They're giving us open shots.
Now here's Leonard. Not a lot of room. Rockets
Malo, y te ha roto, vamos. Nada más que he recibido el pase, te rompió. Dala.
The work there, contesting that shot.
Claro.
Like it was gonna
Claro,
be
coño.
They forced the miss.
Hay que pedirte el
You know
balón,
what?
macho,
He
para
got
que
it
os
in
deis
close, but
cuenta.
couldn't finish in traffic. And for a point guard, you love LUV. That finish. Wow.
Yeah, he's really been able to get off his feet and
¿Dónde
stop.
vas?
Something to watch.
Incredible athleticism, both laterally and
Rebote.
vertically.
Cago en la puta.
Blair. And
No,
it's
hombre,
good.
no, así que
Terrific
no le-
work on the offensive glass to make that one work.
Se va a hacer
He made
el...
that offensive rebound count. Nice job collecting the second chance points.
Venga, vamos.
Steven Jackson checked in for Kawhi Leonard. To
Para
the
ti,
middle.
Martín, adentro.
Here's Silk. And the Rockets getting another bucket right there.
Tira,
You know, shooting as well as
Marty,
he
macho,
has from the
tira si
floor in
ves
the
que
game
eso
this
de vez
night,
en cuando.
guys, you've
Está
got
muy
to
bien que
think
quieras
he's going to be a
asistencia,
factor
pero
near
coño.
the end.
Here's Duncan.
Mío,
The 15-footer.
mío, pero ya está no es.
Duncan's
Joder,
got 4
Duncan,
points
qué
now in
mano
the quarter.
tiene.
They're on track here in the second half after their less than impressive first half. And I think they came out with some tired
Bien,
legs
Martin,
to
ahora
start.
sí, claro.
But they've turned it around. They found some energy and they look a lot more active and
Mira,
engaged.
el entrenador te lo dice. Vale, ahora sí. Uy.
Parker outside.
Mira, Duncan.
Duncan with the screen for Parker.
No, si lo perderé. ¡Ey, ey!
And that's out of bounds. San Antonio
Balón
will
para
retain
nuestro, ¿no?
possession.
That was an awfully risky pass, guys. Lucky it didn't wind up
Me hace
as a steal.
Cenicienta ahí mirando
Well, it nearly did
a la
wind
ventana.
up as a steal,
No
but
quiere
no
saber
harm
nada.
done in the end. They hang on to possession.
A minute 50 left in the fourth quarter. Shot clock at 6.
Venga, hombre.
They get it again. Picks it out to
Pero ahí va a
Ginobili.
salir ya el contraataque.
Pass to Duncan.
Y Duncan se la va a volver a liar.
Here's Blair. And the
Se la
layup
puede meter debajo del aro.
They keep going right back to the paint, and who can blame them? I mean, they're getting it done in there.
Yeah, 3 of their last 5 buckets, guys, have come from inside
Métela.
the main area, so I expect them to continue to go inside right at the defense.
La leche. Ey,
A
no, no,
minute
no.
20 left in the fourth quarter of this one. Back to Parker. Baseline J on the way.
Bueno, mira, me metes eso ya y apago el
He
juego.
just
Venga,
can't
tío.
get a good feel for his shot at this point.
Claro.
That's one of the reasons they're
Joder,
losing.
macho, es que os hay que pedir para que hagáis un pase.
Silk's got 8 points here in this
Qué
quarter.
poca visión.
They saw just a little bit of daylight, went right to the rim.
Parker outside. Ginobili outside. Back to Parker.
Venga ya.
Parker with
Wow.
another miss. Rockets have gone 6 of 9 on their field goal attempts since the start of the fourth quarter.
Mira, para
Back
ti,
to
métela.
Patterson. Houston moving
Madre de
around.
Dios, macho, si tiráis alguna vez no
Good
pasa
team by
nada.
Parker.
Yo encima la fallo.
Guys, a critical time for them in this ball game.
No room for mistakes right now.
The shot by Duncan. Nails it. What a beautiful shot to bring him to
Gana el
within 3.
partido, venga.
Smart, he's just using his size advantage to get his shot off.
And a sweet stroke, too, you might add.
Voy a ganar porque te la voy a liar, te la voy a... No, te la voy a liar. Toma,
Exactly. Expect to see some
métela.
long possessions out of them going forward.
De verdad, tío.
Shoots from the elbow.
Es que solo te llamas Martín y yo. Y Martín cuando la apetece.
Close this game out strong here.
Yeah, this one will be put away if they can get just a few more buckets. You can put it on ice.
It's
Parker, vete a
with
cagar
the
un
draw.
rato, hijo mío.
Good on the shot. And you could feel the crowd reacting.
¿Qué haces,
Yeah,
cabrón?
Exact got them out of their seats and off their hands.
Guys, they
Pero ya no es
just
personal.
exploded when it went down. Well, you do what you have to do to extend this game and try to get the ball back.
Yeah, in this situation,
Parker,
clock
me voy a
management
ganar
crucial.
un luego.
And
Joder,
so they
macho.
choose to intentionally foul.
No, tío,
And
no
the
me lo
first of 2
escupas.
misses. And he does get the second one. And that gives them a 4-point cushion.
Anota 500 puntos en tu carrera, muy bien. Pararlo, joder, que se me ha
Fires from the
escapado.
line.
Dios. Me van a dar a mí para que haga más tiros libres.
9 seconds
Vale,
left in
vale,
the
Amar,
fourth
bien.
quarter. They foul intentionally. That's what they have to do at this point. He hits the first one, and that makes it a 3-point lead.
Otro.
So
Bien.
he goes 2 for 2 at the line.
Ya está
And it's a
acabado. O sea,
4-point
no
ball
lo
game.
intentéis.
Those foul shots right there with the dagger in the heart. It's all but over, guys.
Joder.
And we have seen
Cuidado,
the intensity pick up big time.
Ay,
here
no,
in the
balón
second
mío,
half.
mira, balón mío.
Well, you can feel the desire from both teams that they really want to win this one.
And an intentional
¿Qué
foul
haces,
right
Parker,
there.
coño? Bueno, es lo que tienen que hacer. Uf, qué tensión.
He doesn't hit
Tío,
the
no. Ligeramente pronto, dice.
first. They can't make the second free
Hostia.
throw either. Missing both.
Uf.
So it's a narrow victory for the Rockets, pulling it out for the
Menos mal, menos mal. Venga, muy bien. Sentido dinámico lo hemos ganado. Vamos a ver las preguntas que nos hace hoy. Hay otra vez que le he dado.
Congrats on getting a win in a really close game. How much does a game
Eso
like
sí, va
that change
elegante,
the way
pero
you play in the closing moments?
siempre lleva el mismo traje, la misma corbata y la misma camisa. Increíble. Enhorabuena por esta victoria en un partido muy igualado. ¿Hasta qué punto un partido como este, en el que sabes que todo está en el aire, sirve para cambiar tu forma de jugar en los momentos claves? Cambia muchas cosas, me hace jugar a un nivel superior. No, la próxima vez haremos igual. No entiendo la respuesta. Jugamos partidos así constantemente. Pues la B. Bien, bien, perfecto. Bueno, chicos, pues hasta aquí. Comentadme a ver qué os está pareciendo que suba este tipo de videojuegos. Dadle a like si os ha gustado. Un saludo y hasta el próximo vídeo.